Welcome back to Landscaping to the Point. We are live. We've all survived the snow event that we had just recently. So, that's a good thing that we all survived. That's what we all want to happen is that we survive the latest snow Mageddon or whatever the hell they called it of 2026 of the blizzard of I don't know, Fern or whatever the hell it was. I don't know. They came up with some weird numbers and names and I don't know. But we didn't make out too bad. We had 10 inches. What did you guys have over there where you guys were at?
20.
20 inches? Dang. Josh, you got the same thing, 20 inches out there by you? He's still eating chips that he's been wanting to eat for like 3 weeks now, so. And he cuts out because that's Josh for us.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Oh, Joshy. All right. So Josh jumped off because he tried to clean his lens with potato chip oil, and you don't ever clean your lens with potato chip oil because you just lose everything.
Okay, the good thing is that he made an appearance. So
yes, that's the good thing.
People know that he's around.
He's still around. Yes, he's definitely still around. So 20 inches of snow, man. That were you guys 24 hours like we had 24 hours straight?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'd say it was about 24 hours straight. Wow. A lot of snow, man. This is probably the most snow I've seen since I was in elementary school, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say it was a lot, dude. I definitely do say it was a lot. Here we go. We got Josh back coming on. Yeah, I'd say it was definitely a lot. Welcome back, Josh. You finally cleaned that lens off with that potato chip oil. He's slamming up a Mountain Dew so he can get more awake here because he ain't.
Oh yeah.
He's been awake. Have you got any sleep, Josh? Let's ask that question.
Yeah. I what are we, a week out from that storm? Yeah, we're done by Thursday, I think.
Okay. So not bad.
So
not bad.
I got cut off, but where I live, yeah, we got Jensen and I live like a town away, so it was 2 feet, and then up where I serviced, they said 17 inches, man, but I swear it was a lot more than that. It was definitely a lot more than that.
Wow, that's just amazing how it came in and it just kind of engulfs pretty much 90% of the U.S. It's just
like
amazing.
30 states were involved in that. It's insane.
Oh yeah. Are you guys getting any of this that's coming through from North Carolina? No.
Well, no, it stayed south of us.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Fortunately.
Yeah, because you guys probably have nowhere to put the snow.
I gotta tell you, it's one of those things where so I travel the snow. I travel essentially the three kind of big cities like on the eastern, Worcester, Boston, and Lawrence and Lowell, 4 of them, and they're all the same. Where they're doing the best they can with what they have, but I mean, there's just you can only push the banks back so much. People don't move their cars and don't listen. So yeah, it's difficult. We're I feel like if we got this storm tonight, which was originally forecasted at 9 to 12, it would have crippled. It would have crippled the cities.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I've seen so many cities that are hauling away. Our cities are hauling away downtown. Our downtown was pretty much the same thing. It just that 10 inches just took a lot of streets out, a lot of roads out that they couldn't do anything with. But we're kind of at that same point where we got permission by a couple of our places to take over parking lot spots just because they don't want to pay to have it hauled away. So they were just take a couple spots if you have to make sure you have room and do what you can to get it cleared. So I mean, we did a couple rounds and made sure everything was cleared, and luckily we got a lot of it pushed out because it was so light. I don't know if it was light by you guys, but ours was real light and fluffy. So
yeah,
I think that was a plus.
Yeah, it accumulated real quick too. It was not slow.
Yeah, that's it. It's one of those things. I I don't wish that on anybody, but a lot of you guys got, like you said, almost 20 inches. So that's a lot, dude. That's a lot in one time, and especially in 24 hours. So it can accumulate quick too. So but
I
yeah.
loved it. I loved it, to be honest with you, working it. Um, the conditions were perfect. I mean, conditions sucked to the fact that it was so cold that like some of the diesel equipment had some issues. But as
Right.
far as like it was light and fluffy, it could have been 3 feet. This is from the
Right.
contractor point of view, where it was easy to push. Um,
Yeah.
even the cleanup on the back end was easy. Salt really wasn't going to do much, so you weren't salting in between it. This is literally just putting trucks and equipment down to plow it. I would take those all season rather than like what we typically get is like 4 to 6 inches over a 24-hour period. Yeah,
Right.
that was the one thing I noticed on this, where a lot of people wanted like instant gratification, where like, they're used to that 4 to 6, and then like as soon as they come off from their work, it's spotless. Whereas, like,
Right.
I've been saying like New England lost their winter card of saying like we can handle any winters. Like we're pussified with winters now where we don't get them. Where like everybody just complained, and it's like it's fucking 2 feet of snow. Like, do you realize how much work goes into like moving that, pushing that, keeping up with it, and then relocating it? It's a lot of work, especially like contractors and then municipalities don't have the manpower to keep up with it. Like as far as like the aftermath of the cleanup.
They're still trying to do cleanup.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I think it was one of those ones, like you said, it was easier. It was a lot easier to push, and I would definitely take that over anything. So
Now you're like halfway through your season, right? Yeah, you guys are almost done.
yeah, we got about 4 weeks, and then we're pretty much done with snow removal, and should be out to by March, out and starting doing stuff. So as long as we don't get any more, we should be all right.
Yeah, so this week is historically this is like the start of our winter of like
Right.
snow. So usually we get our seasonal average, the 3 or 4 weeks in February, maybe one in March. So
That's not bad. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, okay, here we go. Since you had so much, I've heard so many things about different companies. We had some breakdowns. Did you have any breakdowns?
we had some stuff that was hard to start in the beginning just because the cold. So we had some dead batteries and things we had to jump start. But we had a plow that's leaking out of the O-rings for cylinders. But no, this is again like I've experienced these storms.
Right.
Like I've been doing this since high school, since like early 2000. So I've been through a few of these big ones. Like we know what to do, but no breakdowns. Again, this is an easy storm. It was fluff. This was like now if this was like 17 to 20 inches of concrete, now you're a different ball game where like now you're breaking stuff and you're blowing hydraulic lines and wearing out transmissions. But this is a cake. This is a cakewalk.
Right. So the only thing we
Just
had now,
long hours.
yeah, it was longer hours. I wouldn't, that was one of the things I definitely would say. It was definitely long hours. The only thing we had breakdown was our snow blowers. We have the one pull cord broke on us halfway through, and then the second one literally the belt broke off, and we didn't have a backup belt. So, but literally we went probably it was closer to morning time. So literally on Monday, so literally we had to go probably 2 hours before we had to go back, and we got into the mower center, and the mower center had us a snow blower right away. So literally got a brand new snow blower and was out right back out within 2 hours, back into full production and right at it. So I mean, but like you said, with it being light, it was, 10 inches is a lot to shovel sometimes, especially when it's heavy. But when it's light, it goes a lot easier and a lot faster. So it wasn't like we were, oh man, we can't do this, So
Scott, what snowblowers are you pushing?
All right. Well, we had a Toro, which we just found out we can't get the pull cord for it, and that's 20 years old. So literally, we're gonna decommission that. But we are pushing Aaron's. We run Aaron's ProPath 21-inch, and that's pretty much what we went up and bought another one of those. They're a little heavier on the heavy side, but man, they throw the snow like crazy. So. I love that over some of the other ones that don't throw it as far. So, I didn't mind having, that. So, but what are you running, JC? I know you got a snowblower.
Yeah, I got it's an older Craftsman. I actually bought it from Sears back in the day, but it was like one of the latest versions before Sears went out of business. I ended up getting a few years back, I installed an impeller kit.
Okay.
If you don't know what those are, well, for the viewers, if you don't know what those are, look that up on like Amazon or something like that. But it's like a modification you could put on your impellers. It's like rubber, so it kind of scrapes the outer portion. I don't know what it's called, in the case there, and it actually works. It works really good. It shoots the snow out a lot further, and it prevents clogs and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's a beast, man. It starts right up all the time.
That's the one thing we loved about our Toro. Our Toro, dude, we could let it sit for months, and then we could just literally yank on it and pull it right and start up. You know, the Aaron's, it takes a little bit of time for us to get it started, the older one, but literally, you know, once it gets going, you're good for the rest of the day. So I know, Josh, you run a lot of sidewalks. So you run what, the Snow Raiders for sidewalks?
Snow Raiders, yeah, but we don't have a lot of walks this year that we did
Okay.
like we did in the past. But the Snow Raiders I like. We just run the first gen with the brine tanks and the salting, and then the
Okay.
I think I can't remember, like 3 or 4 foot blades, which are great. I'd be curious. I know the mags have the option for like the broom and the snowblower. That would be cool.
Right.
But in the past, I have used the single stage Toros. I like, honestly. I mean, now they're a little pricey. I think they're like $700-900 somewhere in that range.
Right.
We used to grab a ton of them because they were like $400 or $500 at the depot. You could grab them up real quick. Now they're a little bit more expensive, so it's hard to justify it. But
a lot of people love those.
Dude, I love them. They're great because you can just, one guy can put it in the truck and take it out.
Right.
You know, you don't need 2 guys. You don't need ramps or nothing. They're you know, they're not great on like heavy like if you live on a main street like me and then you get that windrow from the plows, that heavy stuff, you're probably not going to chop through it, but you can do. I mean, that 2 feet we got, that would have ate up 2 feet, no problem.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, that's always good if you got something that's light to where you don't have to have 2 people to take it in and out. So, you know.
But I am looking at I hate having the big snow blowers just because they end up sitting 90% of the time unless you have storms like this. So I am looking at putting one of those big boys, maybe like an Aaron's or something,
Right.
kind of in the commission and just maybe sit there. But again, I know we've bought them in the past and spent like almost $2,000 on them, and then they don't sit, and you end up selling them because then you just end up catching moisture, and cobs need to be changed and everything from sitting there and not running. So.
Yeah, I think it's a good investment, but like you said, it's one of those things. Are we going to use it enough? You know, to where you're making your money back on it. You know, so yeah. One thing, thanks to Pro Parts Direct, they sent me something. Literally, I put it together after the snowstorm. So if you guys haven't seen, Aaron, they sent me an Aaron snowblower. So
yeah, that's kind of like what yeah.
It's the professional. It's the professional one. So
is that like a Lego?
Yeah. So thanks to Pro Parts Direct and Aaron's. It's an Aaron's snowblower that Aaron's makes. So thank you guys for that. So it was actually I kind of went into the dealer literally after I built it and we were done with all the snow this week and was like, hey, you got one of these? You got a professional? And they're like, no, we just sold it. And I was like, dang it. I would have loved to have a new one to sit right next door to it. So, you know,
what are the pros like? $1,500, $2,000?
I think the pro was, I want to say like 17 or 18.
Yeah. So with tax and everything, about $2,000.
Yeah. So about $2,000. The pro path that we bought was $890 pretty much. So, I mean, it's not bad compared to some of these other, but yeah, Toros were around 700, pretty much 700 to 900 anyway. So, I mean, what are you going to do, depending on what you got and available. But yeah, I know our dealers sold a lot out this week because of that. And I bet you a lot of dealers sold a lot of the snow blowers out. So, a couple weeks ago, we were talking about salt shortage. Josh, are you having any problems with salt or seeing that going on with you down there?
It hit really fucking fast. Like, I had been bringing it out for weeks because I kept on seeing the Midwest and Michigan. I got to the point where, like, I was seeing all the Michigan guys, $250, $300 a ton for salt. And I'm like, fuck, that means it's going to hit here soon. And then all of a sudden the guy that I get my triaxles and trailers from wasn't responding, and I figured he was busy. And then we were running low, so I had my guys go to our local distributor, and they had cut back to 1 yard per day per contractor. And then I
Whoa.
called my backup. I called a few of my backups, and they're having issues. So essentially, I reached out to 20 people, between half of who I knew when I purchased from, and half just like off marketplace to post, and nobody can get it right now. Most of the guys out here are just the guys that have it in bulk or are selling to just their customers. We're on a wait list for it, but yeah, no, it's pretty bad right now, and most of it, it's not that it's a shortage. The municipalities are kind of hoarding it right now, so they have at the barges, they have first right to the ships that come in. So like, I think Portsmouth just had a massive ship come in the day of the storm, and I think like something like 7 municipalities put hands on that, and it's already spoken for. So
Wow.
it is definitely hitting us. So treated is hard to get. It's hard to get. Um, we're gonna push a lot more brine right now. So I actually just reached out to one of the brine distributors we have, because I run an electric sprayer.
Okay.
It can only do single lanes. I can't do multi lanes, and it's great, but I don't know the exact volume that I'm putting down when I do that, because it's just kind of like dummy math where you're trying to average in
Right.
gallons per minute versus how fast you drive. That's what it's using dummy math there. But I'd rather have something where I can dial in, 40, 60, 80, 100 gallons per acre. So I reached out to a guy actually in my city who sells it. We just use the stuff. It's the magic calcium. And
Okay.
they offer the machines there with the 6 lane sprayers, gas powered. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna lean on that a little bit more, and try to experiment with maybe some post treats on some areas. But yeah, it's sketchy, man, because now you're going into an area where you have to be really precise on what you put down, where you put it. Now if you're spot treating, um, I'm hoping that it's only going to last a few weeks. Because like I said, this is kind of prime time for our snow, and historically in February, especially when we get around like Valentine's Day,
Mhm.
that's when the temperatures start fluctuating higher. Like we're already gonna, like today, we were in some single digit temperatures for the past week. I think we're in the 30s for the next few days, but mid February is usually when we start fluctuating back up towards the 30s, and we start getting that heavy snow that freezes up, and you
Right.
gotta sling salt in it. So that's what I'm a little bit worried about right now. Um, Mostly, it definitely hit us. I don't like the prices that I'm seeing out from the Midwest guys like you guys. I'm seeing, 350 per ton, which is
Right.
fucking insane. You know,
It is. I mean, one of the guys in our areas said literally he was buying it for 85 a ton beforehand, and
Really.
now they want like 350 at the same place. So I
Well, it's
mean
funny. I used to
that's
talk to Mike Bedell, and um, we would always talk salt, the pricing out here, where like, if you were to buy it through a middleman, not buying like bulk loads.
right.
Treated was anywhere from like 170 to 200 per ton, and straight was around like 120 to 150. And like you're saying out there, it was like $70 a ton for
Right.
straight, and maybe a buck and a quarter for treated. And now it's like you guys are getting East Coast prices plus some.
Right, right. And I mean, literally, like you said, some of the places have now shut down to where they're only selling to contractors that are buying from them or were buying from them before storms instead of, allowing anybody to come into them. So it's a big difference anymore now. So, I mean, the best thing we can do is just keep pushing and just keep going. I mean, I heard that they're starting to release some of the restrictions on it and starting to release some more. So hopefully happens for everybody across the board, and we won't have any more problems, down the road. But yeah,
I'd assume it will lighten up over here in the next couple of weeks when you guys are kind of at the tail end of your winter. So like
right.
you guys start out first and obviously use the bulk of it. That's why people are saying how is it how are we using the whole salt reserve when we're only a month into the winter? Well, it's like, yeah, the New
Other
York, Mass,
places.
and Northeast are just into it, but you guys in the Midwest have been going at it since end of October, November.
Right.
That's what
Yeah.
people forget. And if you guys obviously, the temperatures are a lot colder out there than we were 5, 10 years ago. I mean, look at Florida today.
Right.
Negative wind chills down there. That's insane.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah.
insane. They're turning heat on down there today.
Right.
I think for most people that are in commercial, and especially if you have decent acreage, it's going to come down to you're gonna have to prepay and
Right.
bulk order next year. So what you use this year, double it, and save your pennies and put that money in and buy it. And build your bin and just
Yeah.
use it accurately.
And Scott,
Yeah.
you guys actually started off a little earlier this year than usual, right? Because you guys weren't
Yeah.
able to finish up some of your leaf jobs.
We started in middle of November, which usually we don't get snow till like end of December. So literally, we started a lot earlier. And yeah, like you said, we kind of got screwed on our cleanups. Because literally once that snow melted, which it didn't melt till December, we only got like a week, and then it was like right back at us with the snow. So literally, we haven't had to finish anything, and that's kind of put us to where, a lot of the companies around us are definitely way behind on fall cleanups. And there's nothing that you can do is just wait till it comes around in the spring. And as soon as this melts, I feel like everybody that around here that does snow is just gonna be balls to the wall and just go out after it. So
It's crazy because like me and Josh say all the time that we don't have our lawn season pretty much until the start of May.
right.
Because we have that thaw period where everything's melting and everything's all muddy and crap. Like, is that the same for you guys where you're at or no?
I mean, we get out and start doing stuff, but yeah, we usually have probably about 2-3 weeks where it's nice and muddy and where the snow's gone, but it's just muddy and you can't really do much. I know like we had a break during that break. You couldn't use any of the equipment except for snow, regular leaf blowers. So a lot of the times at that last part, we couldn't bring mowers out to suck up the stuff. We had to use the leaf blowers. And still to this day, there is some areas that like a lot of the cities didn't get to finish cleaning up. So they were pushing on this last storm, they were pushing piles of leaves back up onto the yards because it's like they got to clear it all the way open, and they were kind of pushing around everything, kind of saying, okay, well, here's a leaf pile. Let's kind of go around it. And this last storm, they were like, no, we're pushing it all the way up. So, they got a lot to still come clean up. But usually when it comes to spring, they don't come by and clean up that stuff. So literally it's all on the contractors to get rid of it. So it's going to be interesting to see what cities do when it comes to the spring and to see what everybody does, because, we're going to have that couple weeks, especially right now. I mean, I'd say we got probably 12 inches on the yards right now, because we had snow before this last 10-inch. So, I mean, it's going to be a good amount of wet grass and sogginess for probably at least 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
So, but that's a good time to get the fertilization out. So, get that first fert in, and, as long as that ground temp's up there, it's a perfect time. So, So Josh, you were talking about everybody trying to get together and get their bins ready, get bins ready. So you think bulking up next year will help you out in the long run?
Yeah, I mean, if you have the space to store it, yeah. If not, I would say, talk to your salt provider. And again, like, if you use 50 tons this year, prepay for 100 tons and just make sure they're going to have it on hand, that they can get it for you. That way, at least you're protected. You got an insurance policy. You have an insurance policy just in case you fall into this, because this seems to be the normal trend. This year on the East Coast, a little bit more aggressive than it was. I think we had a shortage for like a week last year, but this seems like it's going to go on. This has gone on now for this is last weekend, so it's been about a week now. But seems like it's going to go on for a couple more weeks. But again, and then looking into alternatives like brine, like a yard of brine can do a yard of salt can go a lot further than a yard of salt and brine can go a lot further than granular applications. So and part of it, I that's kind of the future of it, especially when you get like these EPA regulations. And not that it's bullshit, but it does do damage to the bridges and the strapping that's in the roads. So I think you're going to see more and more a bigger push for brine usage.
Right.
But again, it's like, if you're putting down out of that 50 tons, 20 of that is pre-treat. Look at the brine unit. Again,
Right.
the setup we have from Turbo Turf is like 3-4 grand.
Right.
And we don't make it. We buy it. I got one place I buy straight brine. 90/10 is 70 cents a gallon. And the place I buy the 85/15 with the magic is like $1.07 or $1.14 gallon. Um, but it works. It does work. And it's not to melt. It's not to melt it off, but it's to prevent that bond that goes in there. And it does work. And we've been applying it a lot more than we have in the past. And I think going forward into this year, we're going to apply a lot more. So, we ordered, 5. You better believe we're gonna have a few thousand gallons of brine on hand too. But yeah, I think to answer the question, I think definitely if you can't store it, um, pre-purchase it with your vendor, and then also try to look at like alternatives.
Right. Right. So Russell over on Instagram says North Carolina and Tennessee's used up a lot of salt this year. Do you feel like if you were a company down there in Tennessee or North Carolina, would you invest more into snow removal stuff now that this year we had a good snowstorm down there?
I'm not too familiar with Tennessee. Doesn't typically get snow, right? I'm not too familiar with that.
Certain places do, but they don't get a lot. And I know they got hit hard this last time, and so did North Carolina. Just got hit, with over almost a foot yesterday. So, do you see a lot of those companies trying to push into getting into the more salt and snow removal stuff?
I mean,
I
I wouldn't
they
go.
would have to, right? Because it's like it doesn't happen all the time for them,
Right.
And,
It's one of those things that, yeah, it doesn't. It's not like a common occurrence, but like, I mean, if you were there, would you invest in equipment to make sure you're good, or,
I wouldn't go out and buy like a skid steer or a loader or nothing, but like maybe like a tailgate spreader or like a 1.5 yard salt dog or boss spreader that $6 grand. You spread that up over like 3 years, you can justify it. Where like it's great because you know what, if you have a spreader, you're the man, you're the guy
right,
everybody's going to. It's one of those investments. Like you buy an aerator detacher, you might not use it for a season, or you might use it for 2 seasons and then not get as much. But yeah, maybe like a plow, nothing crazy, and definitely a salter.
right,
But nothing crazy, like not one of these like fucking $10,000 salters. I would try to get like a yard and a half.
right. A used one from you.
There you go. There you go. I got
Yep.
I got 2 going out the door this week, used ones, and then I got 2
Yep.
more polys I'm fixing up, and those will be up.
I'm gonna take the one that Josh is supposed to give to you and strap it onto
Yeah.
my Hyundai Sonata.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Drive it around. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Russell said it was the biggest snowstorm that they've had since 2014. So, I mean, it's not a common occurrence that they get snow, but I mean, that's over 12 years before they've had big snow like that. So,
Yeah, but I'd say like again, so up here we bought a Boss 1.5 yard, which is a 6,500. I want to say it was like 5 or 6,000 last year. So I assume it would be the same price down there. Again, you can make your money back in no time with that. You know what I mean? Like that would even be like a door knocker. If you had you got a half an inch or inch of fall down, you go in and knock on every person that you can. What's going on? And she smiles. Say what happened.
right. We love you, Josh. We really do. You got some good internet. Oh, there he goes.
He got offended.
He did. We got him offended. Sorry, guys. Oh, Josh got some good internet. It's always when he's on here on the podcast. But
sounds like that Mr. Roboto song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I think it is a good investment if you're gonna get it. If you're getting a little bit every once in a while, like Josh said, I think it might be a good investment to put into it if you wanted to throw that out there, because I know there's guys down there that, like Richie Plemons, that has snow contracts, and that's one of his commercial accounts. That's what they want done, is they want to have that snow contract just in case, like stuff like this. So, if you can get that in the commercial accounts to where you can sign in and say, hey, we'll take care of your snow during the winter time, then here we go. So you could be set up. So
Yeah. So I wonder though, because they don't often get that. How are they billing that? How is he selling that? Is he selling it like a one-time fee when you get there, like collecting on the spot, or is he doing contracts?
I think Richie had contracts to where he, had it set up to where they had him out there for every time it went through. But I think Richie said that he had to give them a price for each season of like what every time they would have to go plow or salt or whatever. So and it's one of those things you're not guaranteed that, but if you had it in your contract, I mean, you could say literally, they want that guarantee. So I would think they'd want to go monthly, so that's what I would do. I sign them up for a monthly contract.
I mean, if you can make that happen, that's good. But I think in a place, I mean, I don't know, because I can't speak from experience, but I would think in a place that doesn't really often have that snowfall, you got to work really hard to sell those contracts.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our buddy Abel from Law Enforcement just joined. Abel he's gotten more snow the last couple years than we have in the last week. So, but Abel, he's probably had the same thing with running out with salt. I've seen that to where they're going out and salting almost every other day. So I wouldn't doubt that they've had a lot of salt issues. So, Josh, what did you do to your freaking mic again?
He's making.
I don't know. It's like. Can you hear me? Or do I sound like a little gay robot?
You did earlier. That's why we were laughing.
Yeah, no, I figured I could hear it chirping. I don't get it, dude. I don't get it.
And then now it was chirping just a minute ago till you started talking. Now it's back to normal.
Yeah, I'll mute it if it does. I'll mute it if I hear it again.
God.
No, I think you're good now.
Yeah, I think you're good.
No, it's coming back now.
You know what it is? It's what do you call that? Like those ghost hunters, and they have like the those sonic detectors, and it makes like the sound of like the feedback. So like the ghosts are talking to Josh right now.
Yeah.
Do you remember like with the flip phones when you were about to get a phone call, your like radio, your TV would start making that noise, and the cell phone ring. It was a frequency. That's what it reminds me of every time. So I'm like pulling away, like I got my computer in front of me, and I'm like, is it my computer going off? Like, what the fuck is it?
It's something like I think what JC's saying, and you probably got a ghost in your house, and he's coming close to your mic, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
We gotta make a spread on FanDuel of like if my internet's gonna act up during a show or not, and then see what the spread gets.
Give people to bet on FanDuel.
Yeah,
get on his himself and win.
The parlay is like how many times I jump off and jump back on.
Right. That would be very interesting. People could make some good money if you do that. We could do that, definitely. Oh, so okay, we're getting ready for this year, guys. You guys got what? What'd you say? Probably 2 months before you guys are out. So what? About 8 weeks or so before you guys can get out and do some stuff.
Contractor's rule of thumb is usually by St. Patty's Day you're in the clear, so a month and a half.
Okay. Month and a half. So I mean, yeah, that's not bad. That's not real bad at all. So
we've gotten snow like the first week or so of April before in the past.
Yeah. Do you feel like this year is going to be that way? Since
I don't know, man. A lot of people were predicting that this wasn't going to be a bad winter year. Some people said, people say different things all the time, but I think it's going to be bad. I mean, it already kind of has been. But.
Right.
I think it's done.
You think so?
It started so early. Like I can't remember the last time we were that. I mean, my company was that active in December. So I
predict 2 more.
Oh no, we'll definitely get storms. I mean, done in the fact of getting like anything like 8 to 12 or 8 to 10 or anything like that. Like we'll probably have a few more 2 to 4 or maybe like a 4 to 6 in there or something. We usually always have like one pain in the ass like right after Valentine's Day. That's just like one of those concrete fucking storms that everything breaks and everything goes wrong and can't get to it fast enough.
Right. But I mean, we have those all the time, and I think that's one of the things that makes it enjoyable for us as contractors. That you're going to have that one time where it's going to come down so fast that you're trying to catch up with it. or shit breaks down and you're like, okay, I gotta keep going, you know, I gotta keep out there and keep moving, you know. So definitely.
Yeah, I got a question for you, Scott.
Yep.
All year we've been talking about preparing for the wintertime. At this current state, did you think that you prepared enough, or you didn't prepare enough?
Yes and no. Okay. At the beginning, yeah, I wasn't prepared because literally, you know, like I said, it started so early for us, we weren't prepared. But now I would say we're pretty much prepared. The only thing we don't have on us right now this year is we didn't install our salter. So when we're doing our commercial lots, we're using just a hand spreader, and usually we'll use our salter. But I mean, that's nothing that we couldn't do. But we kind of got it buried right now because it's out in a lot. But you know, I'd say other than that, you know, I'm prepared. We have rock salt because we knew this was coming through. So we kind of worked with our dealer to kind of get supplied up and make sure that we had enough supply. And we've had enough supply for right now. And so even if we run out, we should be good. Hopefully it won't, you know, the storms won't continuously come, but we're good. I'd say we're prepared now for the rest of the year. I bought some extra parts. I bought some extra stuff. So, you know, we're good to go the rest of the season on this now. So, you know, I think we'll be good. Now going into the next year, I think that's you know, I'll definitely set up to where, like Josh said, you know, if you can got the room for it, definitely get it. We're going to go ahead and get more rock salt brought in so that way we have enough salt on stock. We buy pallets. So we don't buy bulk. So that's kind of been one of the good things about us is because there's tons of pallets at a lot of these places that we buy from. And bulk is not available. So that's where there's a big difference this year for us. And you know, we're going to definitely have enough in on hand next year to go into the spring, you know, go into the winter. And it's going to be one of those things when 1st of November hits next year, on top of doing leaf cleanups, we'll be going through the equipment and making sure everything's ready to go. So that way, if we do get hit like we did this year, we're ready to go. So, so Josh, have you been prepared this year and are you ready for the rest of the season?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I was a little disappointed about is, you know, we were in the new shop and we were busy going into the fall. And we didn't have the salt bin ready. So that was kind of that was a little disappointing. And when we used a lot of salt in December, like a lot. And it's a lot more expensive to buy it through like, you know, landscape supply, salt supply places. You know, so, you know, for half of what we used, we probably could have bought a couple trail loads, you know, for that. So that was a little disappointing that, but moving forward, you know, going into the spring, that salt bin is going to be a loam bin, and asphalted and everything. So, you know, we'll make sure we run out of loam by next October, you know, and have the salt in there by like, you know, by Halloween, so then switch it right over. So that way it's set. So everything will be set up for next year. But for the most part, yeah, I think we're set. You know, a couple repairs to do, fluids to buy and stuff. But for the most part, we're ready to go. We're good to go. We scaled way back this year, man. Like I'm telling you, from what I've done over the past like 7 to 10 years, like we scaled back like tremendously. Like don't get me wrong, I was still in a loader for probably 30 hours straight, 36 hours straight, with maybe like a cat nap for an hour or two in between. Just because this was a big storm, but we've scaled back tremendously this year. And we'll scale back up, but a little bit more strategic from where we were.
I don't think there's there's never a bad reason or bad thing to happen to when you scale back. I think it helps you get more focused and get more locked in on what you want to do and what you want to go from that point. So I think you scaling back definitely helps you guys out because now you can kind of focus more on what you want to do and what you want to, you know, achieve better. And get back into where like, okay, we're going to slowly scale back up to where we want to be, you know, and get it the right way. So, You know, I think you did a
I
good
was
thing.
tired, man. I was very tired from that. I would be out, you know, like on a 4-inch storm, I'd be out for 3 days, you know, making sure
Right.
sites were good and making sure things were touched up. So, you know, a lot of the systems that were in place weren't the right systems, and it was kind of just, you know, flowing through. And still, even though you have guys that are checking on stuff, you end up doing everything, and it's like, I just got to the point where it's just like my health was like in the shitter, you know,
Right.
and my mindset was, and my mental health was in the shitter, just because you know that's all you're fucking doing. You know, like, you know, people would see me in like clean clothes, regular clothes, and like, whoa, where are you going? It's like
Right.
fucking jeans and a polo shirt. Like, what the fuck? They used to see me in a fucking hoodie and wear pants.
Right.
So it's definitely nice to scale back this year. Like, don't get me wrong, there's still work to do. It's still, you know, stuff going on, but it's not to the point where like I know that like I'm leaving on a Sunday and I'm coming back on a Thursday for, you know, a small event.
Right. Right. And I think that's good. I think you know, I know a lot of companies around us that's what they are. They're out for a long time, especially with this last storm. They were out for a whole week, you know, because they have so many accounts, and it's like, is
No.
it worth it? You know, I mean, the money's there. Yeah, that don't get me granted, but is it worth being out every day for 20 hours straight just to get, you know, a 10-inch storm, you know? So, you know, especially when you get a smaller storm, you're still out a pretty good amount of time. So I think you got to have a certain amount of time of when you want to be done, you know, and I think you've gotten it to that point where it's now better for you. And that makes it always the best thing is be more healthier for yourself and be, you know, not having to be more stressed than you have to be, you know. So
I would
that's
like to like moving forward, like, you know, as we regrow it, I would like to get to more shift work with the snow.
right.
You know, so it's not, you know, it's not one guy for, you know, 40 hours straight, you know, 50 hours straight, which I know that's always been like, you know, I can go 50 fucking hours. Like, it's
Right.
great, but it's not safe, you know,
No,
like,
no.
JP, what's the rule of thumb? It's something like if you've been up for like 30 hours, it's like legally like the impairment is the same thing of being like slightly over the
Oh yeah,
alcohol limit or something.
yeah,
So
yeah. I
it's
don't know
like
the exact number, but yeah, that's true.
it's like my thing is like when you're driving and all of a sudden you're seeing shit jump out of you in your peripheral vision. That's usually when it's time to go to bed. But like even for me, like I remember in my 20s doing this shit, I could stay up for a week and not be
Right.
bothered by it. And now, you know, I'm getting to like hour 15 and I'm like, holy shit, like nodding off at the wheel. So
Right.
I would like to get into more of the shift work where, you know, maybe you're doing 12, 14 hours and then, you know, you can go home and sleep for 8 hours and have another guy come in. So I think that's a little bit more safe. And I think guys would appreciate that too. You know, and there's always work there when you scale back up. That's the thing. You know, if you get
Right.
the customers and, you know, you'll have the cleanup and you'll have the haul, but I think it's more quality. Again, back to quality of life, what we always talked about. You know, we're like, yeah, the money's great, but at what cost? You know, again, I'm out for like 60 hours straight. Then again, you realize like a month later, hey, wait, no one's fucking paid the bill. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's like, what are you out for? And then you chase the money.
Right. Right. I agree with you. I think shift work would work a lot better, especially with bigger companies and or
Yeah.
even you know a small company. If you can have a couple guys and divide it up into shifts, it comes out better for everybody in the long run. You know. So yeah. So okay. Going forward, is there anything you would change when it comes to snow, besides
Yeah,
you know going to the shift?
get rid of it.
Get rid of snow.
I agree with him. um, I think there's a lot I would change. It's just it's hard because there's so much that influence the market. You know, between
Right.
cost of fucking, I don't know, like you know, like anything I would change. The shift work would be the big thing. You know, getting more into brine. Um, I, I've thought about bringing in some sort of like business developer, more or less like a salesman to help, you know, source the particular type of clients that I want. You know, I am getting sick of this. You know, everybody has those customers where it's like, you know, I want the cheapest fucking option, but then when it snows, you want the white glove service. You know, this storm in
Right.
particular, we had a place that, you know, their contract is, you know, we typically on a normal storm, you know, which would be 2 to 4, you know, 4 to 8. We try to get out every 2 hours. We had snowfall rates of 3 to 4 inches an hour, for a period of like 3 or 4 hours during the storm. And you had the towns that were creating these big berms and snow mounds on the entrance to the parking lots. And I was having people calling me every hour saying, "Oh, I need a plow, I need a plow, I need a plow." And it's like, listen, you want a fucking dedicated machine, you got to pay for it. Like,
Right.
You can't be on a plow route and go for the bottom number and then decide, halfway through the storm, well, we need more service. It's like, this is what you signed up for. You were given, and everybody's given the option. We got some nationals that we work for, but again, even with the nationals, like, I'm very picky on what I'll take from a national. I won't take like a Cumberland Farms or like a Walmart or anything like that, because that those services are demanding white glove service for fucking peanuts. So I think one of the things I'll probably look into next year is maybe trying to work with or hire some sort of like business development to work for me and scout the type of accounts I want.
Okay. That's a good thing. One last question before we head out for tonight. The last question, and I've heard a lot of people say that they're trying to figure out a way to change up their pricing when it comes to salt because of the salt pricing going up. Do you change your pricing when it comes up to the salt? Like the price go up from when you first originally get it? Do you change that price to the customers?
I try not to, but like we'll use the example for the guys in the Midwest. How can you not change that?
Right.
You're going from let's use an average of like $115 a ton to now $250. Like you're either going to shave back your application or eat it. And
Right.
again, this comes into, are you putting down the right rate for pre-treat, post-treat? Obviously, moisture content in the snow plays a big factor. I am liking like the Boss VBX Plus and the Fisher Tempest.
Okay.
They now have an option on the controller where you can set, per acreage amount, and you can record it so you can see exactly what you have. But yeah, I mean, I think you should have, if it's all inclusive, you have to price for that in the contract. But like your per apps, you should have some sort of clause. It's just like guys have a fuel clause in their lawn mowing contracts. Why wouldn't you have it in the salt? Because what's gas going to fluctuate? $1 or $2 a gallon over a year, maybe 3 or 4 if something drastic happens in the economy. Well, we see that once every 10 years.
Right.
Whereas a salt shortage, now you could have it.
Yeah.
But again, you got to dial in your usage. That's the biggest thing. Guys just fucking throw it down. I see guys trying to melt an inch off. Like, and I get it. It's like, fucking scrape it. You could budget plowing. How many inches you get versus how long it takes you to plow that acre. Scrape it up. Like stop using if you're on a loader or skid, try to switch over to a steel blade. And I don't mean like going in and getting like an Arctic or a Metal Plus. If you can afford it, great. Those are expensive. They're great investments.
Right.
But if you're using like a box pusher, get rid of the rubber blades, switch over to a fucking steel blade, and I promise you, you're gonna use less salt. Make sure you scrape it real good, and then figure out what you're using. If you listen to what's his name, Jordan from VSI, he has on the, what the hell's the podcast? The Snow
Jobs.
Snow Jobs podcast. There's one in particular where he talks about, he's obviously selling the calcium machines, but he's talking about the usage and how salt's applied and how it's over applied. And there's a lot of information in there that's really helpful. And it makes you think, like, are you actually putting down the right amount you need per acreage? And again, like I said before, moisture content plays a big role in how you apply. So this really is a science behind it that you have to figure out, because a lot of the times I think guys are just using way too much fucking salt. Like, you ever go by a parking lot and like, a week after it snows and it's just white, like it's just straight white because of all the residue. You're using way too much. And I get it if it's high liability, but again, if you're scraping and you're using metal edges, you shouldn't have to use that much salt to get it down to pavement.
Yeah. I agree with you on that one. I mean, if you scrape it, like you said, if it's an inch, scrape it off real quick. I mean, what's it going to take you? A little bit more time, but a lot of the times you can, if you got it priced right, go ahead and scrape it, dude. Like, get it done. Take that a little extra time, scrape it, and then salt it. Use less salt.
I would prefer to scrape and spend like an extra hour or two scraping,
Right.
and know that it's clean, and use a little bit less salt. That way I know I have the right result that I want. I mean, I just take that time, even on my all inclusives. I'll scrape and scrape before I bury it. We try to be a little bit more accurate, because again, you can have that clause in your contract with salt can fluctuate in price, but commercial accounts don't like changes in their pricing. They usually have a budget that they work with, and all of a sudden, if you're going $110 per application to like $250, they're not gonna like that, and they're gonna shop it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. All right. JC's got one question he wants to ask us before we head out. JC, go for it.
It's 1 week from Super Bowl. So we all know that the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks will be playing each other for the Super Bowl. So I want to ask each of you, what are your predictions? And I'll tell you mine.
My prediction. I really don't like New England, and I'm not a New England guy like you guys. So, I mean, I would go with Seattle. So that's my prediction.
All right.
And
You have a score?
I'd say they're going to win it by 14 points.
Okay.
JC. Josh, what's your thoughts?
I'm disappointed because I wanted to see a Patriots Bears Super Bowl. That was like,
that would have been nice. Bears would have been nice.
I think this is gonna be a boring fucking Super Bowl, honest to God. But I'm gonna say Pats by 3 at the most, maybe like 10-7.
10-7. Okay.
Yeah. So I want the Patriots to win, but the Seahawks are going to win, and it's going to be 28-12.
28-12.
Ooh, you're giving it like a partial blowout there, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So everybody, we gave our predictions. Let's see if we are correct. We will be back the day after the Super Bowl, right? Or the week, couple days after, unless you guys want to run the Super Bowl day. I mean, that'd be kind of weird. So we could do
the halftime show.
We could do the halftime show, yeah.
Because Josh is going to be over at what, like
midnight?
No, those games are usually over by like 9 to 10.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, they're going to blow them out, so maybe it'll be out way before the end. See?
My bad. Hey, I want to take back my score. It's going to be 28-13 because they're going to get a touchdown, a field goal, and then a field goal.
Okay, 28-13. Okay.
28-13. I don't know why I said 12.
Going with a safety.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's been proven before when the Patriots played. They've had some wacky scores.
Could happen. You never know.
I hope both teams lose.
I tell you, I was
0-0.
I was rooting so hard for the Bears.
Oh.
And I would have loved to have seen the Pats and the Bears.
Bears.
Yeah.
I would have loved the Bears.
It would have been hard to not root for the Bears in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, to be honest with you.
They haven't won since the Super Bowl shuffle.
Yeah. That's the farthest they've gotten, too. So
86.
Yeah.
85.
85.
85 or 86.
85.
One of the other.
Yeah.
Remember the Super Bowl shuffle? The song you made?
Actually, I think it's 86, actually.
I think you might be right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. It would have been nice. I'll tell you that much. But, yeah, guys. So, the Super Bowl is next week, and we got 2 people predicting Seattle. So, let's see what happens. Yeah, it was 1986 when the Bears won, guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It would have been nice. It would have been.
Josh is going to be the halftime show. He's going to have a wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah. You never know, right, guys?
What's the halftime show? Is Green Day and
Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
I'd rather do a podcast at point.
That's
I tell
weird.
you what.
It definitely is the. It definitely is the mix. Who did the halftime show last year?
Snoop.
Snoop Dogg, yeah.
Snoop?
No, Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar, yeah.
Oh,
But
that's
Snoop
right.
was there
That's right.
too,
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, I don't want to watch it. I'll tell you that much. So, Josh will be watching it. I can see it.
I think Michael Jackson's gonna come back.
You never know. You never know, guys. You never know. All right. So thank you all for watching, listening, and thanks to our sponsors, Cujo Yardware, Pro Parts Direct, where Josh goes and buys all his snowblowers. And that's it, guys. So we'll see you all next week. Thank you, guys.